Hi, Alyssa. How you doing?
I am good. I am here. How are you, Julie?
Great. Today is a special episode. Basically, Mistresses Behind the Myth is we talk about mythology. If you guys missed the first episode, do go back and listen to it because we did had a very good session last week. Last 2 weeks. We do this bi-weekly. And so, yeah, if you guys are interested in mythology and all thing history, this is the place. And so today we are going to do a Valentine special, aren't we?
Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh. Do you want me to head into the spiel now since?
Yes, go ahead because we are kind of late. So I guess we can't expect to finish kind of late today. So just go ahead with it.
All right. So greetings, mortals, and happy Valentine's Day. If you forgot to say that, It's almost that time again. We are literally 2 days from it. And in lieu of the holiday, we are discussing everyone's favorite patroness, all things romantic and loving. Well, sometimes loving.
Well, yeah. Very much. Try very much for loving.
Oh yeah, very much trying for that. So Valentine's Day has many different types of love, including pure love, self-love, romantic love, erotic love. Aphrodite mostly seems to embody the erotic and romantic type, and the messy. And we're going to get to the nitty-gritty of some of her affairs, some of her favorite affairs. So without further ado, I know you're thinking, this is so cliche. All she does is set up cute couples and throw temper tantrums. How complicated can she be? What's
very
so mysterious?
Complicated.
Yeah, like what's so mysterious about her? She's very complicated.
Very.
Everything is mysterious. But that's a story for another podcast. Without further ado, our girl was born from Uranus's castrated testicles. She has a fearsome temper, literally drop dead gorgeous, a temper as fierce as her looks. She's a doting mother, an unfaithful spouse, and would literally murder to maintain her OTPs and no TVs.
Yes.
And she literally at some point has struck a dude with lightning. This is Aphrodite and her foremost memorable affairs.
Yay! We are doing this for the Valentine special because why not? And of course, because it is a great deal of love during this holiday, we decided to, kind of throw away the seriousness. Like I try to say this in the last Vibecast, I really, really did. But then we got cut off and then we couldn't get you in here. But what I was saying in the last one is that we are trying to throw away all the seriousness this week because it's a holiday weekend. So really focus on kind of more the dramatic aspect, more of like the fun stuff, And so, of course, we're going to get started. Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty.
So, the goddess of love and beauty, affair number one that we're going to talk about. This one's actually not an affair. This is actually her husband. Talk about her marriage, her husband Hephaestus.
Yeah, her semi-functional marriage, basically. And while you're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and put my a little chart I made. I call it the Aphrodite lovers tree, and so in the comment feed, so that you guys can follow along and not be so lost about it.
Yeah. So while she's doing that, I'm going to just get you up to speed on her Aphrodite's marriage. So as you can see, the only one of her lovers on this chart that is official, put a ring on it, is, of course, Hephaestus. Hephaestus is the god of fire and also patron god of just having the worst childhood. Oh my gosh, this man needs some love. Unfortunately, he does not get it from his wife, who is the goddess of love. So, little sad.
It is kind of depressing, but he did turn out semi decent. That's what I like to say. I love using the word decent around here because that's really the only word I can say that's nice enough, but not exactly all the way good.
So, when describing mythology, definitely.
Yeah, I love the word decent. You guys will see it throughout the entire segment and stuff like that. Yeah, so continue, Alyssa.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. So yeah, like she said, he turned out pretty decent. He is the god of fire, and blacksmithing. He He did have a pretty bad childhood. His mother is Hera. In most stories, his mother is known as Hera and his father is Zeus. So, of course, we're already off to a very good start. And like most things, if you were following our other podcast in episode 1 on Persephone, you know that Zeus is not a very, we don't really like him around these parts. And once again, he starts off in this story, the story involving Hephaestus and Aphrodite, as kind of an instigator to an already bad issue. So basically what happens is Aphrodite is born. She's a babe. She's great. She's absolutely gorgeous. Every man, mortal or non-alike, wants to be with her. And literally it causes like basically a mini war on Mount Olympus between the gods who
yes,
all want to be with
yes.
her.
Very much because of how she looks, basically. So very superficial.
Oh, very much so. Except for the one she was already having an affair with, but we'll get to that later. Zeus literally decides that he's tired of listening to all this noise. He's like, oh my gosh, I literally don't want a war up here, got to protect that ambrosia, that marble tub, I don't want you guys messing up my stuff. So you know what I'm going to do? Aphrodite, I'm going to give you to my son Hephaestus.
Arranged marriage, basically.
Yeah, Zeus does that a lot. And, at least with Persephone, he kind of talked it out. But this one, he literally just says,
a lot. There is literally, we are not exaggerating. He likes to just give women away, including his daughters, including his other affairs, including people he don't even know.
Literally, like always, for someone who is keen on, and it's funny because in a lot of the stories, the gods keeping their noses in their own business, not poking it around in other people's, which we'll also get to that later, because that does come into play in one of her other affairs. But but literally, he does it to everyone, So.
Well, I think here's my opinion. I think that Zeus wants people to, mind their own business when it comes to his business, but when it comes to other people's businesses, he loves to stick his nose in it.
Oh yeah, most definitely. He is very much a selfish jerk for that. He's very controlling. And the saddest part is he doesn't even do a very good job managing Olympus itself, even though he's supposed to be king. But you know what? This is not his video, not his podcast. This is Aphrodite's.
Yes, Aphrodite.
As such, back to her story. Basically, she doesn't take this well, and of course, Hephaestus is known for actually being kind of ugly. He's known as the ugliest god on Olympus, mainly due to his mother Hera, who disfigured him by throwing him off a mountain because he wasn't pretty enough. So some people claim in some stories that he's actually not that bad looking. It's mainly just that he's like normal. He's average. He's not as gorgeous as, say, like Apollo, sculpted like Adonis or anything. He's just normal. But he's also a cripple because, like I said, Hera chucked him off a mountaintop. So,
Well, she threw him off. She threw him off a mountain because she didn't like how her child turned out, basicly. He was a disappointment to her. Which is a very bad excuse.
Very interesting for the goddess of childbirth, I find.
She is complicated.
But as you can imagine, though, this doesn't go over well. Of course, Aphrodite is not. Although it does, a lot of stories do make her sound fickle. She is very much so. She very much so has, like ovaries of steel. This woman is not to be played with, and of course, she's not going to just go along with whatever Zeus wants. And so she does marry Hephaestus, of course, and that pretty much stops the fighting on Olympus. No one's no longer warring over her loins. So, but she is, of course, not faithful to Hephaestus. She frequently cheats on him with other mortals, even other monsters and creatures, and that's just kind of embarrassing. But more so, her most common fling that she usually cheats on Hephaestus with is Ares, the god of war. Well, all the gushy parts of war. It's not like the tactic or anything. That role belongs to Athena, but all the violence and rage and whatnot. And so she's constantly with Ares. And at one point, I think Hephaestus doesn't take this too well, and
Oh no, he does not.
yeah, he gets to a breaking point at some point and catches them. And at one point, he literally throws a net. he lets them.
He
He
threw,
traps them
yeah,
in a bed, and he throws a net over her and Ares as they are making love to trap them in like the center. It's like a center room for the gods, and so everyone kind of just gawks and laughs at them
yeah.
and like judges her.
He
Huh?
summons gods, like other gods, to come and witness his wife having an affair with another man. Like they're caught red-handed. It's basically like just affair shaming. And you know, it's very humiliating. At the same time, it's like one of those very desperate move at the end of like a relationship. It's a very desperate attempt to, you know, humiliate the other person, which is sad in general. I feel bad for Hephaestus throughout the entire story, even that last part.
I mean, like, I also feel bad for him. Like I said, he kind of gets, I mean, in a way, he kind of lucks out. He gets the hottest woman on Olympus and one of the most powerful. And she also gives birth to one of the most powerful sons, Eros, of course.
Yes.
Like, gods feared him. So she is very much a force to be reckoned with herself. And like I said, she has a whole nother story that we won't get into today, but she is, just know that she is it. And she is the it girl of Olympus. And you know, I want to feel bad for Hephaestus, but he did luck out getting her. But I feel bad that she doesn't actually want him. But like I said, it's not her fault in this case because she kind of made herself known that she made it known that she didn't want to be with Hephaestus, and on top of that, she actually has. It's been hinted at in certain stories that she's actually been having an affair with Ares long before she was with Hephaestus. So I mean, it's kind of that scenario, when you break up with someone and they're like, wait, or when you not when you break up, when you get together with someone and your friend gets mad because she had a crush on him, and it's like, dude, you're not even dating, like you're not even together. It's kind of one of those.
Yes, understandable, very understandable.
Like she was already with Ares before you, my guy. There, I can't. And Zeus is placing her with you was kind of a power move if you think about it, because you're his only legitimate son. So I don't. Yeah, I'm not. And then like literally throwing. I mean, it's one thing for you to be seething or be angry at your wife, but to literally shame her in front of the entire pantheon, really?
Yeah, that's why I said it was a desperate move. Wouldn't it be humiliating for him as well? Because men are supposed to be like prideful and powerful. So I do think that is a very desperate move. But here's the thing, at the end of the day, we blame Zeus. Zeus is the ultimate blamer. We blame everything on him. It is his fault.
I mean, yeah, but actually, I agree with you. I don't like Zeus, but in this case, I can only blame him for putting them together. But even then, Hephaestus has enough power, and if you've read any of his stories, he has enough power to come for Zeus. He actually came for Hera, and Hera is equal to Zeus on some level. So, he actually does have the power to say no. So at some point, this does kind of become more about them rather than Zeus. Zeus instigates it, but after that, the power is in your hand. Because I feel like a lot of times we do get into a lot of situations where it's like, if you like, I know recently there's been this movie going around, I can't name it right now, but there's a trailer in it, and it's basically about a sex tape that gets made about this two of the biggest stars of that time. And of course, the couple is a traditional couple, man and woman, but the video looks worse for the female than it does for the man. And she even points this out, like, your career isn't going to be ruined if people see you as a man on this tape, but if they see me, all bets are off. I'm going to be in trouble. And I kind of do agree with it as, shouldn't you also feel ashamed, that your wife is out here messing with another guy instead of even, she doesn't want you. It's apparent she doesn't want you. And she's made it quite obvious. I feel like that should mean something for him. But the only reason he would even feel comfortable pulling something like that is if he knew that, he wasn't going to be looked on badly for that. He knew that even Ares, who he was seething at, really, who he really should have been mad at, that's a lot of misplaced anger. Aries, it wasn't going to look that bad on Aries. Aphrodite was the one who was going to take the humiliation. She is the one getting laughed at in a room full of her peers on the same power level as her. It's just, I feel like that misplaced anger is like I said, it's the reason I can't really feel bad for him, because that is very much something that I feel like should be talked about more, especially concerning things like this in real life and in storytelling.
I do agree with you. Sorry, I've been on mute. I do understand all of that, and it's like it's a very bias. And also I'm on mute because Petite is back here making a fuss. Is my dog? I'm sorry, she's making a fuss back here, so I have to mute. But yeah, I do understand where we do speak about the masculinity and the kind of the sexuality bias in this world, and the mentality was already established since during this time, and it lasts until today. And so I do genuinely believe that at the end of the day, I think both of them did not get a good end of the stick at all.
Yeah, they really didn't. But and like I said, I feel bad for both of them. You know, you're both stuck, and that goes back to, I think we talked about arranged marriages last book, how they're not, last podcast, I mean, I'm sorry, my brain, last podcast, and we talked about how they're not, we don't want to demonize them. Sometimes they are functional, but when you forget that the two parties involved are humans, they are individuals, they are not, you know, they are a part of a whole, but they are not that group that is benefiting from this. When you forget that there are individuals with individual feelings and minds involved, yeah, that's when things get messy, and you end up with an Aphrodite and Hephaestus, two people who are, one who's not emotionally satisfied and the other who is apparently not emotionally or physically satisfied. Bringing us to our next point.
Yeah.
Julie, I remember you talking to me earlier when we were kind of going through this story. You were saying, you know, you kind of wanted to know what made her want specifically, you know, if she could have gone with any god on Olympus, why did she go for Aries? Why is that her seemingly favorite flame?
Well, because here's the thing, in my head, the reason Aphrodite commits so many affairs is because she could not find the qualities, all of the qualities that she wants in one man. So she has to distribute it in a way that she has to find whatever she likes in different men. She couldn't get the person that she desire, because here's the thing, like again, like Zeus is the bad guy, and we have moved on from like so many topics, and now we're talking toxic masculinity, and this brings us into her affair number 2, Ares, the god of war. And seriously, the reason why I think that Aphrodite stuck out with him is because he is just that person that will listen to her, where she can be in control. But at the same time, he is that person who really has that, I would call it a hot head, basically, that heated head, that where he is strong enough and he exhilarates enough masculinity that she looks for in a man, but in a way she can still steer her own wheel behind that, in a way she still can get control and she still gets what she wants. But at the same
think
time,
she's using him like as a I'm sorry, like I just want to make sure. So you think she's using him as a tool? He's the big alpha male, but he's also a good front for her to do whatever she wants to do without being bothered.
Yes, she wants that comfort of a shield. Basically, she wants that comfort of a shield, but at the same time, she wants to be able to be in control. And this guy, of course, like we have speak about this before, the idea behind toxic masculinity is not that this person is just radiating with strength and, you know, volume and greatness. The idea of toxic masculinity is that this person has a lot of front but not enough brains to back it up. In a way, that's why I think they use the word toxic, because it is not a good influence. It is very lacking in actual volume and actual strength. You're just emitting all of these kind of alpha male energy, but not exactly the insides to back it up. The actual, you can't really
live. Substance.
You can't really live up to it, basically. You can't really
Yeah.
live up to it. Um you're just really radiating all of these like very stereo kind of what is it? I would say a lot of testosterones, basically.
And I don't, I
Basically.
don't, I'm not going to say we should shame our males. You know, if you like to, you know, work out at the gym, show your guns, you know, see, and by that I mean muscles. I'm sorry, I don't want to say that and people think I'm talking about something else. But like, you know, if you want to flex your muscles, go to the gym 5 times a week. You know,
Yeah.
you feel like you need to have the deep voice. It's not. No one's shaming you for that.
Yeah.
What we're just when we're talking about Aries. Being the god of war that he is and being like your classic all around male, hits things, throws uh like the idea that just hitting things, grunting when you don't get your way, and kind of just posturing is just it's a bad idea to try to make males or guys as a whole live up to this
Yes.
standard. It's not it's a standard, like Julie's saying, that doesn't provide much substance. And even because, you know, if we're gonna harp on the guys, and this is for the male fans that may be listening, we, even for the guys, we have to kind of call out Aphrodite for this. We understand that in society, you know, she might have needed to do something like that. That was the best way for her to not be shamed and humiliated as she was when Hephaestus did what he did to her, hiding behind, or not really hiding, using this big, strong alpha male that needs that kind of pride, or I want to say he needs that validation from her as a gorgeous
Yes.
woman on his arm, and using that to control him and do whatever she wants. I got to call out Aphrodite for that. It's sad that she has to do that. We understand that she is a woman in a society that does not allow her to just
Yeah,
own her
definitely.
sexuality, own her control, have control over herself.
Yeah, basically this is how the society works. I mean, she needs that kind of man to kind of really to really just be her front door, and just kind of stand there and guard it a little bit, while she gets the way she wants by just stroking his ego a little bit. Stereotypical idea of a man. Yeah, that's a very good phrase to put it. If I would say Aphrodite is a very smart woman. She know how to use that kind of mentality for a man who's very proud, and who very much lives up to that kind of stereotypical idea of masculinity. And she know how to stroke it the right way. She know how to kind of maneuver it and then get what she wants from it. That's a very disturbing idea. That's a very struggling way to view life, but it is so oddly true. It
I
is
mean,
so
but like
oddly true.
throughout history, women have done,
Yes.
like, even like Justinia. There's like plenty of women in history you can literally name who have done this. And like I said, I I understand why they did it. It's a generational thing. Women have been taught that.
Yes.
A lot of women have been taught. We're starting to kind of get away from that, and I'm so glad we are, because I may not feel as bad for Hephaestus, because, like I said, after a certain point, if you were fixed together with someone, it is that person's fault for putting you together and forcing you together. It is Zeus's fault for forcing Hephaestus and Aphrodite together. But after a while, it is your own responsibility to realize this was not going to work. It is your responsibility to say no in that situation. Now, I understand everyone doesn't have the luxury of doing that, but, you know, at a certain point, like I said, responsibility. But on Aries' part, I actually do feel bad for him as a man, because and I'm sure, like I said, a lot of the time when advertising the alpha male stereotype, it's like, you're going to be powerful, you're going to own the world because you were born with a different genitalia. But it's like, at the end of the day, he ends up being sort of a pawn in her game, and lacking the substance and even the importance on Olympus. Because, guys, you're gonna flip when I tell you this. Short story, short segue.
Oh, I love this. We're taking a shortcut, but yeah, basically, what I kind of wanted to put this in there, that basically we are grooming the male, the upcoming male gen, to really pour so much into their muscles, and not really into their brain. That's really kind of how we've been doing it.
or
And
their emotions. Like, allow men to feel. They cry, they feel, they
yes.
get excited, they want love. I'm sorry, and I'm sorry for cutting you off, but like I literally spent yesterday talking to a friend of mine. He's a guy, and he literally was, he was giving me all these, he was talking to me about how, he wants to find love, he was looking for a companion, he wants that loyalty. It's funny because in my head, and I feel bad for this, I said in my head, oh, he sounds like me, he sounds like a girl. But then I thought to myself, why does he have to sound like a girl? Why can't that just be him as a person wanting connection?
Yeah.
And it's sad that
That
we
makes
don't even
sense.
give boys the room to do that.
That
We
makes
don't give men
sense.
the room to do that.
Yeah, that makes sense a lot. And of course, it's always a little bit harder because of societal representation and pressure, and really both gender. But yeah, and I also really want to hear your side story as well, Alyssa. I really want to hear it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
the
so
side
tell it,
story.
and then we can go to affair number 3. Okay.
Oh yeah, of course. So Aries, and I know, like I said, this is Aphrodite's, but Aries is a big part of her story. He pops in a lot, and like I said, the alpha male stereotype. He's literally, he seems like he's all big and bad. He's the god of war. He's this big scary dude, but he has lost countless times to none other than Athena, who is literally
Oof.
the goddess of tactical war. She's all the glory, the spoils, the victory. He's literally just rage and anger. And at some point, he even lost to demigods. They're not even full gods, barely ethereal in any type of way, but they are literally these demigods who capture him and decide that, I think they did it just for kicks and
I
giggles.
know this story. I know this story. Please continue. I'm sorry. I just have to yell out. Sorry.
Oh no, it's fine. No, it's actually funny. They literally kidnap him, stick this dude in a vase. They stick Ares in a vase, literally a vase, and he's of course, probably shouting and yelling and trying not to cry because Ares isn't allowed to cry as an alpha male. But he's he literally is gone for like a good long time, and the gods of Olympus are literally just chilling. Zeus is not worried about him. Aphrodite is not worried about him. No one comes to get him. Like, no one even notices this dude is missing. They're just like,
I love it. I love this
Aries,
story.
where? Literally, at one point, the only reason they care is that at one point, I think like a war happens and no one's dying or there's no rage, and it kind of upsets the balance. So once again, Zeus not wanting to hear all those prayers in his prayer box because y'all are too loud and I'm trying to watch my Netflix. He literally decides, okay, Hermes, Athena, go get your dumb brother. And they were just like, do we really have to? And so,
I love it. I love it every single time. It's,
yeah.
it's a nice story to tell, and I like the way Alyssa tells it because she's sarcastic about it. It's one of those things where you can laugh. It's one of those things where you laugh, but in its own way, it is humorous. But then you're dishing on this guy. But who cares? He's just hothead. Let's just teach him a lesson. The right way.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. But
No,
yeah.
no, yeah, that really is how he's viewed, and I feel so sad. It's the saddest part is that when they take him back, he actually says to them, he basically does the equivalent of, so how was your time? They basically do the, how was your time in the vase, and he was just like, look, I'm only okay with admitting you saved me if we admit that you never saw me crying in the vase because alpha male superiority, that.
Oh my God.
It's just
Oh my
bad.
God.
It's such a sad, and like I said, I feel bad for him at this point. And you know what? Maybe if I feel like all of this wouldn't have happened if you had just allowed Aphrodite to own her personality, own who she is, own her sexuality, because she's that sis, she's that girl. She's that woman.
She is a
Amen.
very powerful goddess, but she get overlooked by her looks. Basically, she is a very powerful human. She is a very persuasive goddess. Not human, goddess. Sorry, I kind of had to connect that she was a goddess for a moment. But yeah, basically, she was this very powerful, persuasive, very tactical person. But she gets overlooked by really her appearance.
Love in itself, like her power in general, like love in
Yeah.
itself is a very powerful thing. Whether it's friendly love, storge, philia, all of that. No matter what type of love is most definitely a very overpowering thing. It is an all enthralling emotion.
Yes.
By principle, she is the most powerful person.
She is. She is. She's a very powerful god. She can really line up with some of the more powerful goddess like Hera or Athena and such and such and such. But yeah, I really do feel for her because she gets overlooked due to like people think, oh, this girl is so pretty. She probably can't really do anything or lift a finger.
Yeah, she's
And
flighty, she's pretty. She can't possibly be that vicious, which she
yes,
does prove to be very vicious.
very, yeah. I love that. I love that we came to that thought together. And now let's speak about I love this. I love this. I love this. Alyssa, you better be prepared. I love this. I love this.
Oh
We're gonna
no.
go to affair number 3.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure all of you have heard of Adonis. And basically the story is, I don't know, should we call it one of the favorites? One of the more popular one, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
So basically Adonis is just this well, Aphrodite found him as a baby, and I'm not sure exactly where did she found him. Did you ever find out about that, Alyssa? Did you ever find out where did she find baby Adonis from?
I still am not sure where she found it. I can Google that while you're actually letting me
Yes.
know.
Basically, she found this baby and she took him to the underworld. She took him to where Hades and Persephone reigned. Basically, she took them the baby Adonis to the underworld kingdom where Hades and Persephone are the kings and queens. And basically, she handed this baby to Persephone, the goddess of the underworld. She's the queen of the underworld, and we have spoken about her in last episode, actually our very first episode of Mistresses Behind the Myth. And when Persephone was raising this child, nothing really much happened between the two. It was just basically a kind of like a mentor and child kind of relationship. And then out of nowhere, was it 17 years later, Alyssa, that she came back?
Yeah, pretty much 17. I think it was about 17.
17
17
years
years
later,
later. Yeah.
Aphrodite came back to the underworld and she saw this beautiful child that she once brought to the underworld and be like, can you raise this baby? I'm highlighting the word baby here. She brought this baby and she was like, can you raise him? And then 17 years later, she came back to the underworld and she saw this very grown man that she once saw as a baby. And now he's grown and beautiful and just a masterpiece. He's just a masterpiece at this point. And she's like, I want him. I want to be his lover.
Literally known as like the prettiest man. Just have to throw that in there.
He
And
is
I
known to
googled
be
it.
the prettiest man. I mean, I guess
He is like, he's absolutely gorgeous. Like he's stunning. He's got the V, he's got the chiseled abs. Just
I mean, I guess
jawline.
Persephone did a good job. Persephone did a good job at raising that child. That child
Look.
that Aphrodite decided to take to bed with. And basically, she took him with her quite easily because she just managed to maneuver him out of the underworld. She took him, and what was his cause of death again? I'm so sorry, I forgot.
Oh yeah, no, I got it. By the way, he was born in Phoenicia, and he's actually a prince, but I think there was a whole falling out at that point.
Yes.
So that's why Aphrodite had to go and take baby Adonis to.
Okay. Okay, because that was the part where I was kind of confused. Is where on earth did she just came up with the baby?
Yeah. Yeah, he's literally one of many Greek kingdoms that were just a mess.
Yeah.
They were horrible with children in Greek mythology. But to his cause of death. Yeah, so she of course Aphrodite. I'm sorry.
His cause of death was actually a very cute one, but I forgot who was the person who killed him. Was it her husband?
It was Hephaestus, yes.
Yes.
Hephaestus and his unbridled, misplaced jealousy strikes again. So Adonis is gorgeous. Her and Aphrodite, of course, like you said, are hitting it off. They're just having a grand time. And Hephaestus gets jealous and decides, you know what, and figures out about this affair, which at this point, dude, stop counting, stop looking. But
yes.
Anywho, he decides to disguise himself as a boar in most tale, in most mythology tales, that's how it goes. He disguises himself as a boar and
Oh,
literally kills Adonis.
yeah.
Just straight up murders him.
Yeah, that is just, yeah, that's I guess a twist and turns. I mean, his death was kind of pretty as well. His death was kind of pretty as well because Aphrodite mourns him. He basically dies in her arm. He bled out in her arm, and she cast a spell that turns him into a flower when he died.
Actually, it was like her blood and his blood mingles with her tears. Like she cries so much that his blood mingles with her tears, and it turns him into the anemone flower, basically. Yeah.
Basically. And I mean, it is a very cute it is a very cute way of kind of ending his story, basically. Like, he lived pretty and he died pretty, you know. It's one of those very kind of cliche stuff, but that's what I was talking about at the beginning when we say, like, oh, we're going to be kind of dramatic this episode. This is what we were talking about. Like, not much to really the seriousness of history but we're just really talking about the pleasantry of kind of the love lust kind of idea here.
The
And oh
messy
yeah,
stories.
basically.
Oh yeah. I first of all just want to point out that once again, because I know you I know how you feel about Hephaestus. I know you feel bad for him, but once again, him targeting his wife in the worst way possible. It's like
I
this time
told
I
you he
can't
was
humiliate you.
desperate. I told you he was desperate.
But that was not the way to go. I can't humiliate you, so this time I'm gonna kill. Because she really did love Adonis. That was probably the one time I can say, like, she doted on him, gave him everything. It was, and I don't think he ever had a queen. Actually, funny enough, most gods when they sleep around with mortals, they give them queens and kings. You know, as it's more of like a you're my mistress or whatever. I'm sleeping with you, and you know I have. They're mostly treat the gods and goddesses like sugar daddy, sugar mamas,
Oh,
and like they kind of give them thrones and stuff. But this one, there wasn't much to it, other than the fact that they kind of just really liked each other.
I
And he
understand
kills
that.
him.
I understand that. I feel bad for him in a way of desperation have grasped the best of him. It basically have overcome him in a way that he lost himself a little bit. And that's kind of the way I feel bad. It's kind of like a pity bad, not a sympathy bad. Um so yeah, but come on now. Cut the guy some slack. But yeah, basically that. Is that it for Adonis? Do you have anything more you want to add other than the goddess of cougars and groomers?
You know what? Okay, yeah, I think we should address that before we move on. Just because, like, not because I want to, but because, like, you will not let it go.
How can I let it
Junior,
go? He was a baby. He was a baby. I cannot let it go. I'm sorry. If you raise something just to have sex with it, then you are a groomer. You are a freaking cougar.
okay, I don't think it would be called cougars because, like, I mean, like I said, I'm not condoning cougars just because, like I said, I think once again, even like the mentality of a cougar, an older woman wanting a younger guy, when younger females want older guys, I mean, we don't see it as a problem unless they're underage. If they are underage, then yes, we see it as a problem. But if that's being applied to this story, then you have two problems. Three, actually. One being that she is a primordial being. After a certain amount of time, we stop counting. Two, she did wait till he was older, and technically Persephone raised him. She only saw him when he was a grown man, and he was not underage. And three, age was very different back then. And even in other countries, age of consent is very different. Like Japan. Japan's age of consent is like what, 13 now?
You
Is it
should
still
not
13?
be telling me these things.
Okay.
Alyssa, you're already in big trouble with me about that. Stop telling me these things.
Okay, I'm not condoning what she did. I'm just saying.
I understand what you are saying. Oh my God. But I still cannot shake my mind from that. I just could not. He was a baby. That's all I know. Adonis was a baby. He did not deserve that. Just leave him in the underworld. He could have become someone very powerful. He was actually a very decent guy.
That's true. He was decent. Okay, I'm not coming for the cougar because, like I said, I feel like that's also just another word to just because I mean I don't know. I I
I
have a
understand where
limit
you're
on my
coming
age
from.
gaps. I have a limit on age gaps. My limit is usually like 10, and even 10 is pushing it.
I
Oh my gosh,
understand
that's
where you're
pushing it.
coming from. I do.
Right.
I do. I understand the older and the younger scale has been obscure over the years. But like I said, I could care so less who she was sleeping with or who she wants to have affairs with or love relationship with. I can care so less. Or I can say that a lot of people don't care who other people are intimate with. It's just the fact that he was a baby did bother me. That the fact that she had him when he was a baby, even though she did not physically raise him, he was a baby. He was a
That's true.
baby. She saw him as a baby, and then after a good amount of time, she came back to check on him. Be like, "Oh, let's go back and check on that kid I knew a long time ago. He was like a little minty. Like I was the mentor. He was like a little minty, and then now he's just so pretty. I just have to take him." Like that did not sit well with me. But
Yeah,
yeah,
okay. I'll give you that. So, like, goddess of groomers, I'll give her that. I
your
don't like.
words, not mine. Your words, not mine. I got you to
Yeah,
say
no,
yes.
I will agree with you on that. That is grooming, and I do not condone the idea of grooming. When you say it like that, that very much does creep me out. The fact that yeah, I do feel like that's wrong. Like, had you known him maybe when he was like 17 and maybe he's 28 now, and you say, let's go hit that, fine. But
Yeah.
baby,
I
yeah,
mean,
that's a little creepy.
the idea here is that I'm not saying that she can't have it with a younger guy. It's just this guy. I mean, if he did not turn out so pretty, she would not have want to sleep with him just because of his appearance. Now that she's interested in him, that's just a wrong idea. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just me being hypocritical, but I do think that it somehow doesn't sit well with any society. But yeah. Uh, any final thoughts on Adonis?
No.
Okay, affair number 4. I'm so excited. Okay, affair number 4.
The mystery affair. This one is very, you guys might not know a lot about this one. This one
Yeah, the
is,
wild card. This is what we call her wild card
she's wild
because
indeed.
yeah, this one is just I don't know how to categorize it. I'll tell the story and you guys categorize it, okay? Tell me how you guys feel. But his name is Anchises. Anchises here was a Trojan prince. He came from a junior branch of the Trojan family, basically the royal family of Trojan, and he was not really much of a powerful prince. He was just really meant to be there and kind of look good for the royal family. That's it. Kind of like Prince Charles nowadays. So basically, in the Homer's hymns of Aphrodite, he was described as her lover. Her lover, as in, this is actually Zeus's fault again. Like I said, we're pitting everything on Zeus, but really in the Homer's hymn to Aphrodite, it says clearly that Zeus made Aphrodite fell in love with this Trojan prince while he was tending to sheep. And the reason why Zeus did it, because Aphrodite was just hooking up every god and mortal together. She goes everywhere and just spread her love of spells, and everyone just fell in love with everyone. And Zeus was a
Quick
victim of it.
insertion. Quick
Yes,
insertion. I just quick insert. I just want to say that is absolutely hilarious that he
yes,
tried to literally marry her off to Hephaestus in hopes that she would be a kept woman, a good girl, and stay with her and obey her husband faithfully
basically.
and just be with someone she didn't even love. And at the end of the day, even though you did that, she still went off and did whatever she wanted to do,
Basically.
living
And
her best life.
actually, this is much out of spite. It is very much out of spite because Aphrodite did hook him up with a certain mortal. I don't know who it is, but if you look it up, you can probably see his long list of mortal lovers, and probably one of them or a few of them, Aphrodite was the matchmaker. And he did this out of spite because he wanted to just kind of get back at her for, hooking up all these people with mortals and making half god, half mortal children's. And of
He didn't
course,
need her help.
he made her enticed with this young Trojan prince who was just on the field, tending to his sheep. He just wanted to be left alone, but Aphrodite fell in love with him because of a love spell, and then she
Not really
came.
love spells. She's more like, I think
Yeah, she was kind
usually
of.
it's because they're like really pretty. She really usually was
Yeah,
super
basically,
physical
but
first.
yeah, Zeus kind of pushed that boat a little bit. He kind of shipped that that boat a little bit. And
Instigating.
yeah, she showed up. She disguises herself as a false princess, and she seduced him into 2 weeks of love making on that sheep field. She basically, I don't know how it got there, but she basically made the best out of 2 weeks with him. And
I am surprised they lasted that long. Like, wow, just two whole weeks.
I was trying to skip through that part. Oh my God, Alyssa.
I'm sorry. That should have been his first clue that there was something supernatural going on.
When I say that's like I'm trying to skip through that basically, and yeah, they made love for 2 weeks in a row, and she disappeared. And then 9 months later, she came back with the baby and be like, "This is your child," and she gave him the baby, and she was like, "You better shush, shush. Do not tell anyone who this child belonged to. He is not my child. Don't speak of my name." And then she disappeared, and she was like, "If you tell," she didn't disappear yet. She told him, "If you do tell people about my affair with you, you're gonna get punished." And then she disappeared, and then the guy, Anchises, did go and start blabbering about it. He did start telling people that, "Oh, I slept with a goddess," and he got struck by lightning. Aphrodite, yeah, Aphrodite had Zeus struck him with a lightning and crippled him. Well, in some version he's crippled, and in some version he died. And then, yeah, basically, and he did get to keep his baby, because at the end of the Trojan War, when, like, the city was burning down, his child actually fought in the Trojan War, and he helped Anchises escape. His crippled father escaped from the Trojan War. And yeah, basically, this one was, I don't know what to tell you, but in this one, the happy ending was more on, I don't know to say if it's like a happy ending, because Anchises did end up getting married to another woman, and they did have more kids, and he still gets to keep his son, and his son was very much a good man. So I guess it kind of was a win a little
Not
bit.
really.
Not really.
If we dissect it,
We push it a little bit more, but I love it that she used the baby card on him. She used the baby card on him, and just, I slept with you for 2 weeks and come back 9 months later and here's your baby. And
I find it vindicating that she did that, because it kind of proves, it's upsetting also because now we can't, I just realized we can't, I will harp on Zeus till the day I'm done, but literally we can't exactly pin everything on Zeus now. Like, we can pin these instigations on him. He instigates a lot of these problems, but literally we're shaming Zeus. And it's funny because in a normal society, they would shame her for like just abandoning her baby. It's a bigger deal. And if you notice, this is actually the first time we're reading about a goddess who is, going out and messing with mortals, giving them children. And usually it's the other way around, with the males kind of forcing themselves on mortal females, and they have the child. But if you notice, there's always another, they're never too worried about it. They just abandon the kids.
I see it.
And
yeah, I see it.
And people like Hera, the wives, of course, get mad and punish the mortals for them. Probably why they're not so worried about it. But she actually was worried about it. She still abandoned her child, which, like I said, now I can't harp on Zeus anymore for abandoning his kids, because she also abandoned her child. I don't understand why she couldn't just raise it. But considering she is a goddess, like,
I mean, it will be kind of off for her to. People definitely will be talking behind her back, or probably even to her face, that if she was to carry around like a demigod or a half mortal child. Because
I get that, but Zeus isn't worried about that. Every single one of those kids, like everybody from Apollo to Hermes to Athena to everyone, every single one of those kids is from a different mortal that he has messed around with, and he has personally brought half of them up to Olympus. The fact that she has to give away her child, and she cannot bring her child to Olympus, her child born out of wedlock, is very upsetting to me. The fact that he is allowed to have children with other women, despite having a wife who is literally the goddess of childbirth and marriage, who is his queen.
The irony.
Just bringing all of his children, his born out of wedlock, up to Olympus. And the fact that she literally is so fearful for her reputation that she can't even bring her kid to Olympus. Her child doesn't get to live the good life. His kids become demigods, great heroes. This kid literally gets to drag his crippled father, because he opened his mouth, crippled by a lightning bolt father, out of a castle that is, I'm assuming, burned to the ground in the Trojan. That just doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah, it is very it is, again, that very toxic kind of stereotypical idea. Men can have as many, half children out of wedlock as they want, and it will be okay. But if a woman does it, it's not okay anymore. And I mean, we're going all back and kind of unravel this conversation all over again, that it is not a very gender kind of friendly place. Basically, it's not an unbiased place. It is a very much a biased environment that lasts.
Also love that locker room talk is not tolerated here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, basically. I don't know. Maybe this is more Aphrodite than actually him, because I don't think anyone cares. But I don't know. Maybe they do care. And in a way, I guess Aphrodite was conscious of what is going on. But I do think a part of what she did was just to kind of really cover her trace up. And then for whatever reason, it could be a personal reason, or it could be like, an image reason. It's not that good. But yeah, you have to live with it. And I mean, Anchises was not treated fairly. I mean, he was one of those kind of, I don't know what to say. Was he more of a lover, or was he more of a fling?
I think he was more of a fling. She didn't really seem to have genuine emotions from him, and literally was basically on the, you better not go around bragging about me, or I'm going to strike you with a lightning bolt. I don't know. It's a very different feel from what you got, say, with Adonis, or even Ares was never treated that bad, even though she did abandon him in a vase. It was, I definitely think this one was kind of just a fling that went a little too far, and she just wasn't, it just wasn't, it wasn't it for her.
Yes. Okay, any last thoughts on Anchises? Who do you guys think was Aphrodite's favorite? Was it, Adonis or Ares? Because I do not think it was Hephaestus, her husband, or Anchises. I don't think it was her husband, her wild card. So between her two lovers, what do you guys think? Or you guys can vote in the poll above, because that is, or if you guys know of any other lovers that she was particularly intoxicated with, you guys are free to put it into the comment section as well, because we would love to hear it.
Definitely.
But my personal opinion on this is, I think it's Ares, because I think that Aphrodite would want Ares over any other lovers, because he's just that one stability kind of man that she would want, and that she can get around with. That's my opinion.
I personally think it was Adonis. There was a bit more purity there. There was she was getting out of him. She's not using him. I feel like, aside from the grooming, I feel like she genuinely did love him. There wasn't a lot of manipulation involved. That one was more, I feel like she led more with her heart on that one. But that's just my personal opinion. And she literally cried for him. So
do tell us what you guys think, and we're going to, of course, try as best as we can to read them. And if we do have another segment about Aphrodite, we hope to talk more about her identity as a goddess and an identity as a female in this world. We do hope we can recap on that one day. But today, that was it for our Valentine's special. Do happy early Valentine's. And also come back with us in 2 weeks. We do Mistresses Behind the Myth every bi-weekly. And we try to give you guys the best topic on females from mythology. So, love you guys. Thank you so much. Any last word, Alyssa?
Just have a happy Valentine's Day. Don't do anything, Aphrodite. I'm just kidding.
Wrap it up.
Don't do anything Zeus would do. There we go.
Thank you. All right. Goodbye, guys. See you guys later.
Bye, mortals.
Bye-bye.